Welcome to part one of a tutorial on how to write a Network Explorer program in Android on Android Studio. Now first let's start with the project. And now obviously you want to start a new project. I've already set it up, so so if you haven't used Android Studio before, it's a new project. You type in the name of your application there, your company domain there, click next, select the minimum SDK. Now in my case I have a phone running Gingerbread and a tablet running Lollipop, so it covers a big range. Obviously you want to go far back as you can without having the same functionality as, or similar functionality as the latest version of Android. Obviously, you know, there are limitations. Anyway, so I set that Gingerbread, so it'll run on all different versions right up to Lollipop, hardware permitted. Right, obviously blank activity, and then you want to set up the name of the main activity, which will, shall we say, for the sake of argument, would be called Network Explorer activity or something like that, which is what I've got in my current program. Here, anyway, that's already set up. Let's start with the activity, the UI itself. Now on the UI we're going to have three views. We want a text view, which will display the currently selected path, a list view, which will show a list of the folders, and a button which will allow you to add a new folder to the location selected. Right, so we start off with, we'll go for medium text. Oh, before I forget, now this is one issue you have with Android Studio, is that when you start off a new project, it will add, I don't know if there's any way of changing this, but it automatically sets it up with a relative layout. Now I've already edited this, but if you want to change it, the only way I can see to do it is to actually type in linear layouts in the actual XML file. It's easy enough to do, just making sure in my case it's set up with linear layouts and its vertical orientation. Obviously you may prefer using a relative layout, but I personally prefer the other. So anyway, so we go for a medium text. We'll call that, where are we? ID. It was there a moment ago. Oh, there we go. Right. We call that current path text view. Right. Now we add. We can leave that with medium text for now. We can change that in the actual program itself. Actually, if we change the width of that, so we go to layout, width, and no, we don't want that. We go to layout, width, and we go match parent. Oh no, we don't want that either. That's it, right. Okay, so we add list view. We want to add a list view. Right, so that fits in underneath there. Go to change the ID to Explorer list. Oops. Explorer. Unfortunately, my fingers don't seem to be working today. So list view, and then finally we add a button. Just move that. We just moved that list view up a little bit so we can see the button. Right, we changed the name of that to new folder button, and then we changed the text on the button to reflect that. We'll put new, change that to new folder. Now It's considered generally bad practice to hard code text in views, but we'll leave that for now and just leave that as it is for now. Right, okay, so that is the UI setup. It's very simple. Obviously, if you want to make it more extravagant, that's up to you, but this is just for the process of this, for the purpose of this tutorial. Right, okay, now what we want to do now is to set up permissions. Now, if you're used to Eclipse, you'll be used to having to use the graphical way of putting in permissions. Unfortunately, there is no actual graphic interface for editing the XML file, so you actually, other than actually editing the XML file, but this is easy enough. So if you set up the user permissions and put the user permissions between, as you see there, is between package, the end of the manifest description there, and the start of the application declaration. Okay, right, so we go users permission. Now, what we want to do, we may want to write external storage. That is actually dependent on what you want to do. You might want to be able to copy stuff from the network location onto your device. Likewise, you might want to copy something from your device to the network, so you read external storage. Now, obviously, at some stage you will need to check the Wi-Fi status. This certainly does. So we check that as access Wi-Fi state. We want to be able to check that. Also, we want to be able to check the network state. So we go to network state, access network state, because obviously you are actually accessing the network. I'm not too sure about this one, but I put it in case. Internet access. Probably don't need it, but it's better to be safe than sorry. As a rule of thumb, the more permissions you have, the more suspicious some people may be of your program and won't download it, and that's not very good, obviously. Okay, that is the permission setup. Now, next thing, we want to add icons to it. Now, I've already done this. I just want to explain one minor change here. Now, obviously, this is the general project view, or I usually have it set on Android, but that is not. If you set it to project, that gives you a more realistic, closer to what you'd expect in Eclipse. Now, you'll notice here that it says MIP map. Now, that is completely different to Eclipse. Obviously, drawable. It was drawable before with the HTTP, MDPI, etc. file folders underneath drawable. Now, instead, they're there. It means that when you go to actually access this via the R drawable, etc. Pathways, it will be slightly different, but we'll deal with that later. But anyway, I've already copied these across. What I've done is, this is the one I've added. It's a folder icon. In this program, what we'll be doing is we're just looking at folders. You might want to add a file icon. You might even want to have a range of file icons according to different types of files. I've made this myself. Simple graphic that had been designed in Paint. I think it was Paint.net. But you can obviously go to free icon sites, download these, bearing in mind that obviously you may have some restrictions for designing this as an exercise. It's just grab any old thing as long as it doesn't infringe on anybody's rights. That's the thing that's important. Now, here comes this is how do we get onto the network? Well, here is the JCIFS. This is, as it says here. Now, the website there is quite simple, jcifs.samba.org. Now, this is, as it says here, open source client library that implements the CIFS SMB network protocol in 100% Java. Now, this will run on Windows, Android. I believe it successfully runs on any other platform that runs Java. And as it says here, it's the file sharing protocol on the Windows platform. I do believe that most Android file managers use this to access networks, so it's quite popularly used. And you want to download the latest zip file, which contains all the source files and the jar file. There's the latest one. Whoops, I've already downloaded it, so I don't need to worry about that. Now, staying in this project view here, you'll see up here we have libs. So I'll grab the jar file here, copy that, and just straightforward paste. So that jar is in the actual file space of the application. So now we want to add that as a dependency. So what we do, we click on the app node there, we go to, or right click I should say, open module settings, click on dependencies, and if you click on this green arrow here, green plus sign I should say, click on that and you'll see file dependency. Click on file dependency and immediately it comes up with libs. Click on the jar file and click OK. That's there, and click apply and OK. It's adding that. So now you're ready to go on to the next tutorial, which will be to add some more bits and pieces. Well, basically we're going to go through the main activity file and add various bits and pieces in connection with JCIFS. So on to part 2. Thank you very much.